with the women, and the men were taken into a different line. As we stood in line, they were calling age. And I looked at my mother, and I told her she was in the wrong line, because punishment and dogs and guns and the confusion that was going on at that point was unbelievable. Not having been there before, not knowing what was waiting for us, the adrenaline really ran high, the fear. And so my mother went into a different line, and I stood in line because I lied about my age at that point. When we were being taken off the transport, the train, there was a man that would come onto the boxcar and would whisper in Jewish and Yiddish, "You're 15, when you remember, when you get off, you're 15. And so I did not go with the children. He already knew that most children under the age of 15 would go directly to the gas chamber. So I lied about my age, stood in line, went with the women, came into Birkenau, Auschwitz concentration camp. While I was there, I had asked my mother, asked when I would see my mother, and they showed me the smoke. That's how I found out that the line I sent my mother into went directly to the gas chambers. While I was in the camp, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hungry, head-shaved, uniformed, skinny women that kept staring us, the newcomers, hoping we had brought news from home, hoping we had brought some food. One of the ladies that stood in front of me was so skinny and so dirty, I could hardly recognize her. Turned out she was my mother's youngest sister. Her name was Bella, my Aunt Bella. My Aunt Bella saved my life. It's because of my Aunt Bella that I am here today. She was able to share her ration and give up her daily rations to the people in her barrack and to the people that shared her bunk to make room for me. The bunks were so full, everybody had to sleep spoon fashion. If one turned, everybody had to turn. We were keeping each other warm that way, and we were trying to give each other a little more room. So she sold her daily rations to make room for me. She was the one that protected me. She was the one that told me what to do and what not to do. She was the one that put her arms around me every single night while I was hungry and cold and scared. And she would whisper, "Let's just live through the night. Tomorrow will be better. You'll see, tomorrow will be better." This is how I lived the days in Auschwitz, with tomorrow will be better. I lived with the trains, watching the separation every single day, watching hunger, watching starvation, watching people going to the gas chambers. And yes, there were gas chambers, no matter what you see or hear on the internet or what you write or what you read. So this is what I did. And my job while I was in Auschwitz was carry huge rocks from one side to the other. Now they're all on this side. I'm carrying them from this side to this side. I was a little girl. Some of those rocks were as big as I was. The starvation there was unbelievable. One day, there was a selection. There were selections every single day for different reasons. There were selections to go to the gas chambers. There were selections to just do all kinds of slave labor. So we always knew there were going to be selections. This particular time, there was a selection, and they put us into a holding barrack. We knew from the holding barrack we were going directly to the gas chambers. Everybody knew. If you're in Auschwitz, 1 hour, you know what is happening. At that point, we were so beaten down and so hungry, we didn't think we would survive anyhow. And so they took us out of this holding barrack, and they lined us up, and we were going to go to the gas chambers. And so nobody ever wanted to be in the beginning of a line or the back of a line, because there was always punishment and they were pulled from the beginning or the end. And so this particular day, I was at the end of the line. My Aunt Bella was chosen to go onto a truck to be taken somewhere else. I was chosen to stand in line and to go to the gas chambers. Her truck pulled away. The last she saw of me was walking into the gas chambers, on the way into the gas chambers. I did not know where she was being taken to, but I was hoping to go with her. The last moment, 6 women were pulled out from the end of the line, put onto another truck to be taken to do slave labor into a factory. When I came into this factory, I thought Auschwitz-Birkenau was bad. This was hell. These women were literally starving. They were skin and bones, and dirty rags. Unbelievable what was going on there. I was one of 600 women that was in this particular factory doing slave labor, and I was the youngest. It was always, who will survive? Who will carry on? Who will tell our story? This was going on in the barracks as well as in this factory. It was always someone must survive. Someone must tell the world what is happening and what has happened here. And so everybody looked at each other, and because I was the youngest, I was the chosen. 599 women, when they would get their daily ration, their little piece of bread, really a little piece of bread, and we were all starving, they would line up and I would stand there, and each woman would give me a crumb in my hand. I had 599 crumbs that amounted to a little marble, because that's all they could spare. In turn, I promised that if I survived, I would be the messenger. Hope was that none of us were going to survive, so I thought, I'm not going to survive, but if I do, I will be the messenger. When I came to this country, I came here as a young girl. It was